Now, we all remember when Lamar Jackson went off in 2019 and he won NFL MVP. And if you are a Ravens fan, I have some good news for you. And if you're a non-Ravens fan, this might be some bad news to your ears. But I have a feeling that Lamar Jackson is going to put up an MVP caliber season once again in 2023. Because with the addition of Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson is about to be unleashed. You are about to see the full potential of Lamar Jackson. You see, Lamar was really good under Greg Roman, but he reached a certain peak under Greg Roman, and Greg Roman kind of handicapped Lamar Jackson's potential because Lamar Jackson just isn't a great runner, but he's also a really good passer. And one knock that a lot of Ravens fans had on Greg Roman was his inability to get the most out of the passing game. That's not something that Greg Roman specialized in. So they move on from Greg Roman and they bring in new OC Todd Monken. And if you have followed Todd Monken's coaching career, everywhere he's been, his offenses have been really good, especially when it comes to running the football and throwing the football. And with Todd Monken calling the plays for the Baltimore Ravens this year, Lamar Jackson is going to elevate to a level that we have not seen before. He is going to be the true definition of a dual threat quarterback. We already know that this dude is damn near unstoppable when he gets into the open field. I think that he probably is the most scariest player in the NFL. And now you couple that with a offensive coordinator that's going to be able to elevate this passing game. Lamar Jackson is about to go off. I've been telling people this all off season, and I'm giving you guys the final warning. When Lamar Jackson plays, the Ravens win 70% of their games. As a matter of fact, when Lamar Jackson is healthy, the Ravens are normally in the conversation for having the number one overall seed in the AFC. And then once he gets injured, that's when things start to go downhill. But if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, I'm trying to tell you people, he's going to have another MVP caliber season. The weapons that he has around him, OBJ, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, a top 10 offensive line. He has all the necessary tools at his disposal to put up another MVP performance this year. If you thought that Lamar Jackson has reached his ceiling, you're wrong. I'm trying to tell you folks, man, Lamar Jackson is a way better passer than what a lot of people give him credit for. You think about how good Jalen Hurts was last year throwing the football, especially outside the numbers. I think that Lamar Jackson is just as good as better. You just don't see it because Greg Roman doesn't really specialize in the passing game department. And I get really irritated when people say, oh, Lamar Jackson, he goes to the playoffs and he falls because he can't throw the football. Well, duh, because he didn't have an offensive coordinator who knew how to build a solid passing attack. That's why with Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson is about to continue to elevate to a different level that we have not seen before. Lamar Jackson, his full potential has not been unlocked yet. Todd Monken has the keys to unlocking that thing. Lamar Jackson is about to go from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan Blue. If you aren't already on the Lamar Jackson hype train for this year, this may be your final chance to get the last tickets that are remaining. Because I'm trying to tell you guys, man, Lamar Jackson is about to go off this year. Lamar Jackson is one of the most talented quarterbacks, maybe the most talented QB in the game outside of Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not trying to say he's better than Joe Burrow or whoever else, but I am saying if we are judging and ranking quarterbacks in the NFL solely based on talent, there's no way you can tell me that Lamar Jackson isn't top 2 in that conversation. He's arguably one of the fastest players in the game. He has a really good arm, and he is a really gifted passer. And we haven't really seen how good he is at throwing the football because he's been held back in that department with Greg Romans, who treats 3-4 tight end sets like it's the spread offense. I remember on Sunday Night Football last year, I was watching the Ravens play, and Chris Collinsworth was talking about the sit down that they had with Greg Roman and about running more 3 receiver sets. And he was like, man, we don't need to run more 3 receiver sets. We don't need more receivers on the field because we got good tight ends. This dude looks at tight ends like the receivers. Y'all don't see the problem with that? If you're a non-Ravens fan, you don't think that was a little bit of the issue for why Lamar Jackson wasn't able to deliver in the playoffs? For the people who have the narrative that Lamar Jackson is just a choker in the playoff, I want to ask you, do you think that's all because of Lamar, or you think that the play calling didn't have something to do with that? Todd Monken was one of the best offseason additions out of any player or coach that has been hired this year. Right behind Vic Fangio, and not enough people are talking about this, man. You really need to pay attention to who these teams hire as their coordinators, because it's a large reason for why some of your favorite players have the success that they have. Lamar Jackson could very well win his second NFL MVP this year. And this is coming from a diehard Steelers fan, but fandom aside, I'm a fan of the NFL first. And for those of you guys who've been following this platform ever since I first got on here, I've been telling you folks that Lamar Jackson was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the game. And it seems like a lot of people on Twitter and social media just like to make fun of Lamar Jackson, call him a running back, and all those running back jokes are cool. But this year, you're about to see Lamar Jackson actually prove a lot of those jokesters wrong and show everybody how talented he is throwing the football. Lamar Jackson is about to be unleashed, people. You are about to see Lamar Jackson play at a level that you haven't seen before. Lamar Jackson wins 70% of his games. When he's healthy, the Ravens are normally in contention for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. And Lamar Jackson having Todd Monken as his OC, I think that the Ravens have a very great chance at being able to win the AFC this year. I'm not saying this just to say it, man. I'm trying to tell you guys, with the roster that Baltimore has assembled this year, this is a good enough team that's more than capable of being able to go on the road to Arrowhead and knocking off Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson is one of the scariest players in the NFL. If you listen to any NFL player that plays on the defense side of football that's played against Lamar Jackson, they make this dude seem like he's a damn nightmare. And we know how difficult it is to stop Patrick Mahomes. But do you know how difficult it's going to be to defend Lamar Jackson this year with him getting elevated as a passer? The Baltimore Ravens are giving him the ability to audible plays. How many of you guys knew last year when the Baltimore Ravens played the Miami Dolphins, when they were down big and they came back, Lamar Jackson was given the ability to audible out of plays and kind of somewhat call the shots? And he ended up running for over 100 rushing yards. He had 300 and something passing yards. And he led the Baltimore Ravens to a comeback victory against the Miami Dolphins. Lamar Jackson now has been given the full keys to this offense. There's nothing slowing him down. There's nothing limiting him. And there's nothing that's going to keep him from elevating to the level that he should have been at years ago. Lamar Jackson, if you thought he has reached his ceiling, you're about to see him elevate to a different level that you haven't seen him before. There's a very good chance he could throw for over 4K yards and maybe lead the NFL in touchdown passes again. It may sound absurd to say that when we're talking about a guy like Lamar Jackson, but this dude is probably the most talented QB that we've had in the last decade. And no disrespect to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal QB, but if we're talking about pure athleticism, nobody's effing with Lamar. You know that. Even if you hate the Baltimore Ravens, you gotta give Lamar Jackson credit where credit is due. This brother is one of the most physically gifted QBs to ever play this game. He's a better passer than Michael Vick. He's arguably one of the fastest players in the game. We don't really know how fast his 40 time is, but there are rumors that say that he runs a 4.28 or a 4-3. And in the open field, this dude is somebody that you don't want to see. I was listening to Tyrann Mathieu on Twitter when Lamar Jackson was having his contract disputes describe what it was like to play against Lamar. Honey Badger was going off on folks on Twitter saying, you must have never played against Lamar Jackson. Do you not know how difficult it's going to be to slow down this Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson being elevated as a passer by Todd Monken? You got to account for his dual threat ability on the ground, and then he's going to be able to carve you up through the air? How are you going to stop this man? Tell me, how do you game plan for that? Lamar Jackson this season is on his way to winning a potential second MVP in his NFL career. If you thought that Lamar Jackson has reached his potential, you're about to see this man elevate to a way entirely different stratosphere, man. And I'm a Steelers fan telling you this, and I'm a little bit frightened they're going against Lamar Jackson this season because the Ravens could most definitely be special this year.